Energy is the foundation for good health. And
Yes.
stress does, in essence, it suppresses our cells' ability to produce energy.
So the
And
mitochondria.
being able to alleviate pressures of stress. And stress can come from the outside,
Yes.
right? Life situations, a lot of work, but
Mhm.
stress can also come from the inside.
Today's guest I met a number of years ago when I first took over my supplement store. Over those years, I have watched this individual help formulate some very integral products for my industry. Today, you are going to learn a little bit more about some niche ingredients that Dr. Elie Klein, my guest, has helped formulate and source these high quality natural ingredients that have been helping individuals with stress, better sleep patterns, improve energy, and clear up the brain fog. So take a moment, have a listen, let us know in the comments what area of concern can you relate to. Hi, everyone. This morning I am joined by Dr. Elie. He has over 20 years of clinical and natural product industry experiences, a distinguished naturopathic doctor and published author. He formulates natural health products and he selects the finest ingredients to produce high quality, efficacious natural products. So, welcome, Dr. Elie.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you for
Hi.
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, 20 years experience. How did you get started in this wellness industry?
Well, I guess I've always had interest in health, natural health, nutrition, the way nutrition affects our health. Just fascinated by, what makes our bodies work, our minds work. And I had an opportunity to go study naturopathic medicine back in 1999. And yeah, been at it ever since.
Now, are you practicing? Like, do you have an office now? Are you still
Yes,
practicing?
I practice virtually. I know it's become popular to do a lot of meetings virtually since onset of the pandemic. But I actually started beforehand, a year or two before. So I don't do hands-on things. I don't do acupuncture or anything like that. My work is with chronic diseases, and so it's just fine to work people virtually. Works
Yeah.
well.
So, what are you hearing more now, like post pandemic?
Well, I see a wider range of things, a lot of anxiety, some depression, and fatigue in general, often associated with low thyroid function, high cholesterol. I mean, my book was about heart disease, cholesterol, blood pressure, and gastrointestinal issues. And they're all connected. They're all connected. They're related to stress or different
Yeah.
stressors, one way or
Yeah.
another.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the same at my store. It's the same thing, like stress, no energy, low energy. So, with these clients, what are you recommending in regards to stress? How can we help them?
Wow. Okay. So, when I work with people one-on-one, it's individualized medicine. So I got to look at what has happened in their lives, look at their labs, order labs if need be, additional labs. And basically, it's a combination of dietary adjustments and then addressing where the stress comes from. Sometimes hormones can be used, and very often different vitamins, different herbal medicines to address stress as well.
What about gut health?
Yeah, gut health is very interesting. So, what stress does, it basically lowers our metabolism,
Mm,
decreases our thyroid function, and that slows things up. And that also slows our gut motility.
yeah.
And when our gut motility slows down, it's actually not very good for the gut. And all the bacteria that is supposed to stay in the large intestines are able now to start moving up into the
Mm,
small intestines. So at its worst, it develops into what's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth,
yeah.
SIBO. But basically, stress causes also increased permeability of the small intestine. So you have these extra bacteria with increased permeability, and when they die, because they have a life cycle, when they die, they dislodge these things that are present on the cell wall called endotoxin, and they can react with the intestinal wall and cause inflammation. They can penetrate through and cause inflammation throughout the body as well. So my approach, first and foremost, instead of giving them probiotics, I actually give
Yeah.
them antibacterials first.
And what is that though, antibacterial?
The antibacterials help to kill the bacteria in the upper part of the intestines so that, the bacteria that is there, because the bacteria is supposed to remain in the large bowel, not the small bowel. So it kills it off. And then you can also help seal the gut with things like glutamine and zinc. And after that, you can repopulate with good bacteria.
So what is an antibacterial?
So my favorite as of late is the oil of oregano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, very standard. Used for respiratory infections, but can be quite
Okay.
useful for the gut. Very versatile. It's a very broad effect. Podiarco is another one.
Okay. Yes.
Thyme,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
thyme can be
All
good
right.
too.
Okay. I always thought oil of oregano, if you take it too long, though, it kills bacteria.
Yeah,
Like it'll start killing good bacteria.
people seem to respond fairly well to oil of oregano all around.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it's
Yes. Yes.
interesting.
Yeah. And people, like, I would never have thought that, but people want it more for cold and
That's
flus and
right.
viruses,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I might refer people to a doctor for very mild antibiotics as well sometimes.
Yeah. So you mentioned glutamine and zinc. So L-carnosine, would you
Yeah.
say, is
Car-
another like
Carnosine, zinc carnosine.
yeah. So I usually like the L-glutamine, leaky gut. That's kind of how I recommend L-glutamine for individuals. So it starts in the gut basically. So we're saying the stress, anxiety starts in the gut. Would you say?
Yeah, so yeah, anxiety, people, I mean, it's a mental health thing
Yeah.
related to the brain, but
Yeah.
we have more nerve endings in the gut than in our
Yeah,
brain
yeah, like
and in our
80%,
heart.
yeah, 80% of serotonin is manufactured in our
Yeah,
gut.
more than
So
80, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Well, last I heard was 80%. Okay, so I want to talk about, I was checking out your website and I wanted to talk about rhodiola. There's 22 different strains of it. And so in your practice, you recommend rhodiola for stress, anxiety, but what else is it good for? And what strain are you using?
Yeah, so Rhodiola rosea is a very interesting plant. It has a very long historic use. It's also known as Arctic root. It grows in subarctic areas throughout the world. So these are stressful environments for plants to grow in, right? Half the year, the ground is covered with snow, very cold. So stressor for the plant itself. And so it makes it hardy. And certain compounds develop within the root that help the plant survive. And these compounds basically are plant hormones that help us as well. They mimic the effect of our hormones of vitality. We have certain hormones in the body that promote vitality versus stress, post-stress. Now, as far as the strain goes, so this kind of sprung out of a research project of the Ministry of Agriculture in Alberta. And they've done the legwork, the hard work beforehand, and they tested 20 some strains. And they ended up picking a strain called the Aurora strain. And it's a hardy strain. It's dependable. The metabolites that we're looking for are produced within it in a consistent way. And so that's the one that we've used to formulate this particular supplement, Roseva.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it's grown in Alberta. And because it's colder climate, yes, the roots go down deeper because, like you were saying, the roots are trying to protect the plant, but it goes deeper and it pulls out those minerals
That's right.
out of the soil because we know our soil's depleted, but it's getting deeper into the soil, pulling out all these nutrients.
That's right. That's right. And it's great to have a dependable source of Rhodiola rosea because as of late it has become an endangered species. And so, traditionally the Rhodiola rosea you'd have in supplements would be rhodiola that is grown in the wild. But fortunately, we can depend on there are about 100 farming families that cultivate it. And it's not an easy process. It takes between 5 to 7 years to reach maturity. It takes a long time. So they put in a lot of work, but we end up with a wonderful medicinal plant that we can use, and it's quite versatile and what it can do. It's wonderful for mental health, wonderful for all kinds related to stress as well.
Now, there's another ingredient that is called Bacopa
Yeah.
for brain health, and I'm all about brain health. And, you know, like I said, women are coming in saying they're fatigued, they're brain fog, whether it's, premenopausal, menopausal, and everything in between. But Bacopa helps clear that
Yes,
fog.
yes, yes. Wonderful for brain fog for sure.
Hmm.
Traditionally, it's been used for virality, vitality, mental health. And yeah, I have a little anecdote where, so an associate of mine at Nanton Nutraceuticals gave a sample to a lady around the perimenopause, and she's held onto it for a while. She didn't use it for a long time. And then she started experiencing these symptoms that sometimes women during menopause experience, brain fog and fatigue and so on. So, but a year later, she remembered somehow, she found it in the cupboard, she took it, and within a few days, it
Yeah.
just lifted. She couldn't believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's all these simple things that you can do, herbs or vitamins that you can do that will help, your day-to-day stress or anxiety, whatever it can be. Or like you said, oil of oregano. I would never have thought of that for antibacterial
Yeah, 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 for sure.
in that sense.
And during menopause, the menopausal symptoms, the conventional medicine medical model tells us it's too little estrogen, but it's actually too much estrogen relative to progesterone. And when that happens, when you have too much estrogen relative to progesterone, it acts like a stress hormone. It acts like cortisol. So it's incorporated, it suppresses cellular functions, including brain cell functions. And that's why people develop these symptoms of brain fog, dullness of mind. They can even slip into depression or anxiety, things like that.
So too much estrogen, but we have so much xenoestrogens that the body's not getting rid of it. They're estrogen mimickers, so we're not getting rid of those. Do you have suggestions for that? How can we get rid of those extra
The
estrogens?
xenoestrogens.
Yeah.
So, on a very basic level, first and foremost, it's important to move the bowels properly. It's important to have sufficient fiber and move them properly. Fiber binds these estrogen, particularly pectin, things you find in apples.
And fiber is the only nutrient that will go through your whole digestive tract. Like it just sweeps through your digestive tract. And oftentimes things don't get to the last part of your colon.
That's
But
right.
fiber is the only one that
Yeah.
will
Yeah, the body can't
sweep.
break it down, can't absorb
Yes.
it, so it goes through.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then fiber to get rid of the estrogen.
Yeah. And of course, there are other things. You got to support liver function. It's really important. Milk thistle can be very helpful. All kinds of things out there. But especially people have to watch out if their liver function is sluggish and say, fatty liver, something that's very
Right. And that's
common
another
nowadays,
big one that's
right?
coming. Yeah.
And it's associated with increased adiposity, meaning extra weight, extra fat. But even thin people can have it because sometimes we store fat, first of all, in our internal organs for some reason. And so taking care of that can be really important. Where things like milk thistle can be helpful. The studies show that milk thistle and vitamin E are probably the most important, most studied, I should say, nutrient that have consistently shown reduction in current studies. And things like choline also very
Yes.
important,
Very good.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Also good for the brain, choline.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's the foundation for phosphatidylcholine, and
Yes.
it's very
Yeah.
important fats
Yeah. Yeah.
for including for the
Yeah.
brain and the nerves.
Now, alpha lipoic acid, I know you have a product with alpha lipoic acid with it, like for liver health.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So that with some of the other
Yeah.
ingredients you
Yeah.
mentioned,
Yeah.
and alpha-lipoic
Yeah.
acid is a very important antioxidant, very versatile, very important to support mitochondrial function. That goes back to energy generation.
Yes, I was just going to say, yeah.
Energy is the foundation for good health. And
Yes.
stress does, in essence, it suppresses our cells' ability to produce energy.
So the
And
mitochondria.
being able to alleviate pressures of stress, and stress can come from the outside,
Yes.
right? Life situations, a lot of work, But
Hmm.
stress can also come from the inside, poor nutrition
Hmm.
or the
Yeah.
types of
Yeah.
bacterial toxins I talked
Not
about,
sleeping.
not
Yep.
sleeping. So it
Yes.
can be not physical, it can be physical. Anything that puts strain on the cells, anything that strains on our body, it basically the body perceives it as stress and it responds to it accordingly. So anything that helps to offset that can be very helpful.
We have a product, Roseva, and it has the rhodiola rosea in it, but it also has other nutrients. And I call them cofactors because it helps the absorption. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So, so rhodiola is known as an adaptogen, helps us adapt to stress and kind of went through how more or less it does it. It helps the compounds within Rhodiola rosea mimic the effect of our hormones of vitality to counteract the effect of the hormones of stress and alleviate the pressure of stress. Now, in order for the cells to regain proper functions, they have to be fed properly. They have to have, good nutrition, good nutrients. And so some of these nutrients are vitamins and minerals, basically, that support the process. And certain vitamins and minerals are particularly important for things that help us to overcome stress and increase our cellular vitality. So certain B vitamins, extremely important for that. Um, Vitamin D, extremely important for that. Zinc helps revitalize not just the gut, but also the nerves. And so it's useful to combine, I mean, if in practice, I would combine things together. So when it comes to making a supplement, I guess what I tend to do is kind of think about, okay, well, what are the things that are most necessary to support a person's recovery or alleviation of stress and an improvement in their health as a result of that. And so that's the idea behind formulating it with vitamins and minerals as well.
Right, right. Well,
Certain vitamins and minerals.
yeah, and we all know we're deficient in vitamins and minerals because we're not getting it from our diet because everything is ultra processed unless you're shopping the perimeter of your grocery store. But yeah, we're lacking those vitamins and minerals. So having that in a product only helps the uptake of the main ingredient.
Well, and they help nourish us better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but they're only minute amounts.
Yeah, they're
It's not
relatively small amounts. I mean,
therapeutic.
people, yeah, it's a balancing act. When you
Yes.
formulate natural products, it's a balancing act. A portion of the population takes supplements, takes vitamins and minerals.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
I got to be mindful that I don't overdo it, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't underdo it either. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. Right. Very good. So, Dr. Ellie, what's in the plans for 2025? What's new and exciting? Where do you see yourself going in the new year?
Well, life is busy
Oh,
in terms of helping people, and part of it is actually developing new supplements as well. Some are coming out, some are um, going to be developed. So, diabetes is a big problem. So we're hoping to launch something for that product with, again, a couple of different herbal formulas and nutrients. And yeah, just life is not boring.
now
Yeah.
you mentioned diabetes, but you also mentioned like the B's and zinc. So, for neuropathy,
Yes, for neuropathy for sure.
B1, you know?
B1, yeah, we're actually launching a B1 product, benfotiamine as well.
Oh,
So you must have
perfect.
read my mind. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I recommend it all the time for
absolutely.
neuropathy.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. B1, very versatile, very interesting, very useful for diabetics. Not so much to lower blood sugar, but to protect against the
Nerve
adverse
damage.
effects. So nerve damage and also kidney damage.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a study, there are a couple of studies actually showing improvement in kidney damage as a result of diabetes.
And the milligrams?
So the one study, remembered, was 300 milligrams,
Okay. Yes.
right?
And the methylated formulation.
So that was a standard thiamine in that particular
Okay.
study. But when you take
Okay.
benfotiamine, that form of
Yeah.
thiamine, then the absorption is 3 times as high.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
helpful. Then you can
Yeah.
take lower
Yeah.
doses.
Well, Dr. Klein, Dr. Ellie. Thank you for this interview. I'm going to sign off and I appreciate all your knowledge and all your expertise. And I'm thankful that you're part of a formulation team bringing out these wonderful products. And yeah, so just I want to thank you for your knowledge and your information and all that you're doing to help our listeners.
Sure. Great being here and great talking to you.